Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. We should stay safe and healthy, and Hashem should protect all of us. We just finished the holiday of Pesach. We're going into the holiday Bezrat Hashem of Shavuot, the day we received the Torah. When we left Mitzrayim, Hashem told us we're going to get the Torah in 50 days. How come Hashem couldn't just give us the Torah right when we came out of Mitzrayim? The answer is you can't just receive the Torah without preparing, without cleansing ourselves, without getting ready. Only after we work hard to perfect ourselves, then can we receive the Torah. Because the Jewish people were excited to receive the Torah, they were counting the days from Pesach until Shavuot to receive the Torah. And that's why till today we still count the Sefirat HaOmer every day until we reach the most special day, the day that Hashem created heaven and earth for, the day we received the Torah. Since we are supposed to work on ourselves in these days to try to perfect ourselves, the custom is to learn the Mishnayot of Pirke Abot. Pirke Abot is not just a regular Mishnayot that teaches us halakha. Pirke Avot teaches us the way of life, the way we're supposed to cleanse ourselves, the way we're supposed to act in life, mentioning every single chacham who used to have his opinion on what's important and what we should work on in our lives, written down in the Mishnah in order of the generations of the chachamim, each one teaching us beautiful, beautiful sayings. And the custom is, like we mentioned, to read, to learn Pirkei Avot in the days of the Omer, all the way to Shavuot, to help us work on ourselves. Why is Pirkei Avot called Avot? Usually Mishnayot speaks about what the title of the Mishnah is. For example, if we have Masechet Shabbat, it talks about all the laws of Shabbat. Masechet Sukkah, Pesachim, talks about the details of the holiday of Sukkot, of the holiday of Pesach. If our Mishnah, Pirkei Avot, speaks about the way we're supposed to act in life, then why is it even called Avot? It should be called Midot Tovot. It should be called something else. Avot means fathers. What does it have to do with learning about fathers? The answer is, just like it's a responsibility for a father, for a parent, for a mother to teach their children how to act, so too the rabbis that are teaching us. They're teaching us because they're like our fathers, and they're teaching us the proper way to act in life. Before the beginning of each chapter, each Perek of Pirkei Avot, we bring one Mishnah that's brought down from a totally different section in the Gemara, in the Mishnah. It's really found in Sanhedrin, and that Mishnah is Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelek Leolam Haba. Every single person in our nation has a share of Olam Haba, to remind us that we're getting ready for a bigger, bigger world, the real world, the Olam Emet, Olam Haba. And when we read about that and learn that Mishnah, it gets us to be serious that we're not only living this world, but we're preparing for the next world. We should all live and be well. After we learn the Mishnah of Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelek Leolam Haba, we go to the first Mishnah in the first Perek of Pirkei Avot. It starts off with the most famous words, Moshe Kibel Torah MiSinai. Moshe Rabbeinu received the Torah from Har Sinai. He then gave it to Yehoshua ben Nun. It happens to be that today is the day, the Yortzeit of Yehoshua ben Nun, the day of passing of Yehoshua ben Nun. And by speaking about him, we'll get an extra beracha on the day of his passing. Moshe gives it to Yehoshua. Yehoshua gives it to the Zekinim. It goes all the way to the Nebi'im, to the prophets, and then it goes all the generations down until the big group of Chachamim, which we call the Anshe Knesset Hagedolah. The Anshe Knesset Hagedolah was a huge group of Chachamim, of every kind of Chacham. They were the ones that put together the Tefillah, the Berachot. They were rabbis that had Ruach HaKodesh, all kinds of mystical powers, all kinds of greatness and righteousness. And when they put things together, it lasted all the way until this very day. When we look at the beginning of the Mishnah, Moshe Kibel Torah Mesinai, Chacham Ovadia Yosef asks a great question. Moshe did not receive the Torah from Har Sinai. Moshe received the Torah from Hashem on Har Sinai. And then he gave it to Yoshua and Yoshua to the Zakenim. But how come the Mishnah starts off that Moshe Kibel Torah Mesinai? He received the Torah from Sinai, from Har Sinai. Obviously, he didn't get it from Har Sinai. He got it from Borei Olam. He got it from Hashem. So why does the Mishnah say that he got it from Har Sinai? There are many answers. But one answer that Chacham Ovadia brings down is because we learn something from Har Sinai. We all know the famous story when Hashem was looking for a mountain to choose to make that most awesome day of the Jewish people receiving the Torah. He needed a mountain in the desert to make this beautiful ceremony. The bigger mountains, whatever this means, were saying, obviously, we're big, we're huge. They were being big shots, and they wanted Hashem to give the Torah on their mountain. However, Har Sinai was a little mountain in the back, not boasting, not being a big shot. And Hashem says, because that mountain is humble, I will choose that mountain to give the Torah on. Our rabbis ask a question before we explain our answer. If Hashem wanted small and not huge mountains, He wanted humble and low, so then why pick a mountain at all? Pick a valley. Let Him give it in a huge valley where all the people would go, because that's low. That's what Hashem wants. Humility, humble, low down, not a huge mountain. Our rabbis answer, guess what? It's not about being low. The only way a person could acquire to receive the Torah is by climbing a mountain. A valley is just going down, but we have to strive to get up. So Hashem needed a mountain to teach us this lesson. But when He was choosing a mountain, He didn't want the big shots. He wanted humble, low, humility. Just like Har Sinai is the epitome, is the symbol of humility, there was nobody on the face of the earth as humble as Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem is telling us He was chosen to give the Torah to the Jewish people from Har Sinai, not from the mountain, from being like Har Sinai. That just like Har Sinai was humble, Moshe was humble. And that's why he received the Torah. So it doesn't literally mean he got it from Har Sinai. He got it from Hashem on Har Sinai. But when the Mishnah says that he got it from Har Sinai, what it really means is he got it from being humble. Now, as we mentioned in the past, that being humble does not mean you cannot do something. Being humble doesn't mean that you think you're not worth a lot, that you can't do great things. Because Moshe Rabbeinu had to believe, just like every single Jew must believe. There are 13 principles that every single one of us have to believe in. We can't believe in 12 and not in all 13. One of those principles, one of those ani ma'amins are that Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest Navi of all times. There was no Navi like Moshe. There will never be a Navi like Moshe. So now Moshe himself had to believe in those 13 principles. He had to believe in those 13 rules. That means if he believes in it, he knows that he himself is the greatest prophet in the Jewish nation of all times. But yet, even though he knew he was the greatest, Hashem testifies. Not just somebody else, not the people. Hashem, who sees the insides of the people, who knows the truth about those people. Hashem himself says Moshe is the most humble human being on earth. Imagine, on one hand, he's the most humble human being, but on the other hand, he knows he's the greatest Navi that ever was. The answer is, when you put those two together, it's not a contradiction. Being humble doesn't mean you don't know who you are. Being humble means I know what I have. I know that I could do this. I know what I can do better than anyone else. Every single person has their thing that they're good in. But the only thing is, we can't say to ourselves, this is me, I'm great at this, I'm awesome at this. We have to know that we have it, but we have to know that it's Hashem's, and He gave it to us. And we are nobody without Hashem. So you must know your pluses. You must know that you could do great things, but you have to know that those great things that you do come from Hashem. After it goes from Moshe, from Har Sinai to Moshe, Moshe gives it to Yehoshua. How come Yehoshua was chosen to be the leader after Moshe Rabbeinu? Our rabbis give us a number of reasons. Reason number one, Yehoshua never left his rabbi's side. When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to get the Torah for 40 days and 40 nights, and the Jewish people, after Shavuot, after they received the Torah, they all went back home to their camps far away from Har Sinai. Yehoshua could not leave the mountain. He did not go home like everybody else. He wanted to be the first one to learn from his Rabbi, from his rabbi when he comes down from Har Sinai. He couldn't help it. It's sort of like a child who's waiting for his parents to come back from vacation. He knows that if they're coming, they're going to come in an hour or two, but he's staying by the window just to be there, to get his presents, to see his parents, whatever it is. Yehoshua was the same thing. He could not bear the thought to not be the first one to receive the Torah straight from Moshe, who got it straight from Hashem. How did he get food? Our rabbis tell us that the man came down from Shamayim. Just like it came down for the Jewish people where they were in the camp, so too at the bottom of Har Sinai, man used to fall every single day from Yehoshua for Yehoshua ben Nun, because he was so connected to the Torah, and that's one of the reasons why he was chosen. Our rabbis give us another answer, another reason, because Yehoshua ben Nun, after everybody finished learning in the Beit Midrash, in the shul, he used to go clean up the shul, make the chairs in order, make the tables the proper way, that it looks like a Beit Knesset, that it's clean and neat, so the people could come the next day. Because he cared about where Hashem rests his Shekhinah, Hashem chose him to be the next leader of the Jewish people. Yehoshua gives it to the Zakenim, as we mentioned, and then to the Nevi'im, and then the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. The Anshe Knesset HaGedolah teach us three very important things. And this is the first lesson that's written down in the Pirke Abot. Hem amru shelosha devarim, they teach us three things. Number one, hevu mitunim badin. We should be slow when it comes to judging. Now some of us may think, hey, I'm not a rabbi on a Beit Din. I'm not a judge in court. Why do I have to be slow and patient when it comes to judging? The answer is, it's not only talking about a rabbi on the Beit Din, a judge in the court system. Every single one of us, when we look at other people, we might say to ourselves, we're judging them for what they're doing. We look, oh, this person is like this, and this person does this. Guess what? We are never supposed to jump to go judge somebody. If we feel that we have to judge for whatever reason it is, we can't just jump to conclusions. We have to go slow. You know, when the Torah talks about building a ramp to go up to the Mizbeach in the Mishkan, it tells us in the Torah we're not allowed to build stairs to go up to the Mizbeach. We have to build a ramp. And that was for Siniyu purposes. When the Kohen Gadol used to walk up, he used to take small steps for being modest instead of just running up and taking large steps to go up to the Holy Mizbeach. It's the end of a parasha, and then all of a sudden, the next parasha in the Torah, after it speaks about building a ramp to the Mizbeach, it talks about Ve'ere HaMishpatim, and these are the judgments for the judges to judge. Our rabbis connect those 2 points. They say the reason why Hashem wrote it together is to teach us this point. That just like we don't go up the ramp in big steps, and then it talks about judging, we don't jump to conclusions when it comes to judging other people. We always have to give the benefit of the doubt. And the way you judge other people is the way Hashem judges us. So if we're always giving people the benefit of the doubt, we see a light go on in a house on Shabbat, we don't say, oh, they opened the light, Has v'shalom. We say, maybe the baby did it, maybe it was an accident, maybe it's a timer, maybe it's an emergency. We never judge for being negative, because if we're negative for other people, then God forbid our own judgments in Shemayim will be negative, Has v'shalom, as well. But if we look at the positive in everyone, we don't look to judge negative. We're positive, and we say they're good people, they did this for that and this for that, good reason. Then that's how they judge us in Shemayim as well. It's no coincidence that in this week's parasha, when the Kohen goes to look at a person's home, when he has leprosy on his wall, when he has sarat, a Kohen, if he has a stain on the wall, not the stains what we have today, a natural leprosy, what they had in the old days, the Chacham, the Kohen, has to come to the house to take a look to see if it's pure or it's impure, it's tameh. When he goes into the house, our rabbis tell us, he does not open the window shades. He does not bring a torch with light so he can look at it closely. You know why? Because we don't want to look at anyone negative. We look at it the way it is. We don't go and open all the lights and analyze what people have in their lives. We leave the house the way it is, and if the Kohen sees it pure, he looks at it positive, then that man's home is positive, is pure. And that's the lesson we learn from the parasha, and that's what the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah are teaching us, with the first thing they teach us in Pirke Avot, Hevu Mitunim Badin, never ever jump to conclusions with judging people, always go slowly if we feel we even have to judge people at all. The next thing they teach us is Ve'emidu Talmidim Harbe. You should make a lot of students. What does that mean? That means that we never ever think, if we're learning Torah, that other people who aren't on our level, they weren't taught the way we are. We say, we leave them and we do our own thing. We have to try to bring everybody, no matter where they're from, no matter how they look, to be close to Hashem's Torah. Just like Hillel, who we're going to learn about in the future in Pirkei Avot. Hillel was known to be patient with everyone. He tells us to be like Aharon HaKohen, that he always brought everyone closer, and he loved everyone, and he was peaceful with everyone. And the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah is telling us that that's the way we should be as well. The third thing, the end of the Mishnah, that the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah teach us in Mishnah Aleph is Asu Siyag La Torah. We should make a fence for the Torah. What does that mean to make a fence for the Torah? We know there are so many mitzvot, and if somebody has v'shalom does something he's not supposed to, so we know that's an averah. If a person feels that, God forbid, they might be in a situation where they shouldn't do something and they're nervous to do it, then we build a fence, not a real fence, but a separation between us and that thing. For example, if somebody's on a diet, let's say, and he's not supposed to eat certain foods, so we're not going to tell him, okay, here, go to a donut store and buy me a coffee, and he sees the donuts, right? He has to know that he has to stay away from that item. The same thing goes in life. If a person sees a group of people that might be talking Lashon Hara, so don't go join the conversation. Just say, I have to run to do an errand. Make for yourself a fence. And by making fences, we'll stay far away from Averot. We'll just keep doing the beautiful mitzvot that we're doing, and we will be blessed with beautiful things. Have a great day.